Hello, this is Easy and welcome to this little plugin I made. It's made for ZBrush-4R5. It's called the Combo Slider and this is the version A. This needs to go into your ZPlug folder. This will also come with the source code. You don't need to put that in there, it's a text file, but just make sure that you got this ZSC file. And once you get that there, this works on Polymesh 3Ds. It does not work on the primitives. Like this is a primitive here, and if we drag this out, this will not work. It needs to be a Polymesh 3D or imported OBJ. So with that said, we're going to go down to polygroups, and you notice we have no sliders at the bottom. This will put some sliders down there temporarily. So we're going to go to Z plugin, and it's called the Combo Slider here. So when we select this, okay, you can see it puts some sliders down here at the bottom. But we got more options if we come down here to the tutorial view window, and we'll just drag this up a little bit. And basically we got some similar sliders. This is the max angle, this is the max angle over here, this is the group loops, and this is the group loops here, and so on. This has more options. I would highly recommend using these down here instead because they got a little bit of extra settings, and I won't go into that because it's not really that necessity. So I'm gonna give you a brief overview of what these do, then we're gonna get into a little bit something more fun. Right now it might be a tad bit boring, but typically we want to start with this max angle slider here. Basically what this does, these are called combo sliders because they do things in combination. So basically the old way was you had to move this max angle tolerance, then press the group by normals, and this is like 2 steps, and this will break it down a lot easier. Well, basically what this slider does will automatically turn on polyframe. It will automatically set your max angle for you. It will automatically group by normals, and it automatically merge straight groups. Let's take a look and see what that does. Then it's going to group this. The reason why it turns on polygroups because if we didn't have it on, we couldn't see the polygroups. Now this would be very hard to do to polygroup. Now we can Control Shift click to select our groups, and we can move this slider, and now we got some more groups because it's moving the tolerance with it. Just going to go ahead and import something really quick here. And this one here. This is a Dynamis object I made, and this will be kind of hard to polygroup also. Now this the max angle works pretty good on some pretty hard edges, and anything that's kind of rounded, it gives a little bit of problem, but it will still work. So if I select here, then you can see it update and make its own group. And if I hide part of this, I can still also move this to create more groups. Let me do that one more time. Then we get something like this. I don't know if I mentioned this, but this plugin will be below the video, and you can download it and try it. So we're going to go on the next step. We got this group loops here. Sets a loop count, then presses the group loop button. So basically what that does, like I said, you can use these sliders down here for certain things, but you're going to have more options over here, and they have other settings. So if we go to the geometry, basically what this group loop does, well, the old way that you had to do this was when you went up to the group loops, you would have to set the loop, then you'd have to press the group loops. Well, that's 2 processes. This is only 1 process. If I want to go to 1 loop, okay, what it did, it set the loop to 1, and it automatically pressed the group loop. Now you can see it created a mask, so we're going to clear the mask. Control Z this back, and you know, you can hide part of this and do this right here. Now there's all kinds of things that you can do to this, and I'm not really going to go into full detail because there's a lot that you can do with this. I'll give you an example here. So let's go ahead and hide part of this, and we'll just group this right here. Then you can kind of get interesting results. So if I wanted to go 2 loops, now it's going to go 2 loops, and it's going to be set by the polish also. So if the polish is 50, it's going to do 2 loops, polish at 50, and group loops. I paused the video for just a second, so if you see any changes, it's because I paused the video and took a break. But anyway, what I was saying about these have a little bit more different settings than that you might see down here under the polygroups. Because the reason why is if I move this slider, let's say to 2, the group loop, it works, but if I want to do the group loop again at number 2, I can't because it's stuck at 2. So let's Control Z that back. Now if I do this at number 2 and let go, it sets it back to 0, and I can do it to number 2 again if I wanted to. I'll go ahead and load up this cube here, and we need to make it a polymesh 3D. And like I said, usually this is the max angle, is the first one you want to start with, so we're going to move it, and then we get our groups there. Control key, Shift key, click to select that. I want to do, let's say, 2 loops, and we get something like that. Then we're going to clear the mask. Now we got this auto polish here. Basically what that does is it's going to polish it, whatever the loops are set at, that's what it's going to polish it at. So if we go like this and move it, it's going to loop all the groups and polish it at, I got it at 38, and let go, and we get something like that. Now you can move these sliders more than once. Now we have this one here. It's the sets a group loop polish, and basically all this does is move this slider here. So if I move this to 28, this updates at 28. This is not really a combo slider, it does only one thing. The reason why I have it down here is so you don't have to come up here and move this manually. That way this will be used with the group loops over here. So I'm going to, if I want to group loop, let's say to 2, well, it's going to put 2 loops, and it's going to polish it at 28. So that way you don't have to come over here and manually select this over here. Now we got this displacement. Now you notice all these are in pair. This one here is by itself, and I got them, these 3 here all together. They're kind of all in the same area of the geometry, and then we got these that do certain things here. These 2 here. So the first one's by itself. These 3 are in pairs. Then the next 2 are in pairs. This one is really nice here. It just right there. It's going to extrude it. And since we got our groups out here, which is really easy to select, we can select here. And if I want to extrude it outwards, I would move the slider to the right. And then Control key, Shift key to bring it back. Now you can see it's got a little bit of bevel. Control Z. Now if we want it crisp, we can bring it out like this and bring it out like that. Control Z. Now if we want to, I think I hit crisp on there. Oh, anyway, I do now. Now if I want to insert it, I would go like this and bring it back. And remember the old way of trying to select something, you always had to bring the mark keys up to select something. Well, since this is all grouped up, it's going to make it a lot easier too. So now at least I can focus on this right here. And let's say I want to do right here, and I move this over here to negative, then I get something like that. Well, Well, I figured out why this button was coming on and off, because every time that I, so you'll know for your own self here, let's Control C this back. Well, this is on, when you move one of these sliders, it automatically sets it back to 0. Well, basically, it's automatically shut this off. There's no way that I can get around it. So, if you want Chris on, and you move the slider, it's going to turn it off. You need to turn it back on, and to fix that. This could come in handy with some of these insert brushes. We're going to use H cylinder here, and we're going to drag it out. Then we're going to clear the mask twice, once and twice, and it's going to fuse it together. Now if I hold the Alt key and click and hold it down, then we're going to drag out. This is going to make a Z sub. Drag twice, then we get something like that. Like I said, there's all kinds of things that you can do with this. So if I wanted to make that crisp and extrude it a little bit with a displacement. Yep. Let me redo that, and let's do this on the outside. Then we get something like that. Now this is something you're going to have to experiment around with, because there's, like I said, there's a lot of things that you can do with this. You know, I'm just going to go back over here, and then we get something like that. Control C that, click that there, let's hide that, and you get all kinds of different effects. I'll pause the video again. Like I said, you can use these sliders down here. Usually the first one you start with is max angle. And let me go ahead and zoom this in here. Now if you crank it all the way up, you can see we got one group. We're just going to tone it down, and it's going to start picking up more groups. You have to slide it and move it and just keep on messing with it. Now you notice the sliders are here, and sometimes when you use Lightbox, these will disappear. Also, I'll show you. And projects, slow this one up. Well, the sliders are gone. So if you want them back, just come down up to Z plugins and press the combo slider, and they'll come back for you. I'm going to do one more thing here. Like I said, there's all kinds of things that you can do with it. And we got the demo shoulder here. I got it on solo. Now, let's click this to make it update a little bit. Get it over there. We need to go ahead and freeze, or just go ahead and, for this instance, probably best to just go ahead and delete a subdivision, because we're going to be using displacement here. Now if you remember mesh extraction, what it did was doubled up the geometry when you was trying to make a shirt or something. So you'd have an inner and outer polygons, and that would make double the polygon counts. You can fake that by extruding that. So Control key, Shift key, click, and I want to crisp this, and I want it to go out maybe like a shirt a little bit, and then we get this shirt type right here. Now, like I said, this only has, well, basically it's gonna have this little, let me see if I can get it in here. There it goes. It makes this little extra loop in here, and our polygons are not double. It gives a little bit more, but not a whole lot. And like I said, if you wanted to insert it, you would move the slider to the negative.